So I've had the Bobber 2 years now. I think it's time I did a 2-year review, I guess. It's been really fun making this video, and it's been really interesting actually because I've been going through old footage and stuff, so seeing exactly how far the Bobber vlogs come, exactly how far I've come as a creator, and of course the studio here. And you can see all the bits and pieces. These are the standard bits which have actually come off of the Bobber. Oh, apart from the rear guard, which used to be there, but now it's back on the bike again. But there's a whole new video about that. It's had a very busy 2 years. I haven't ridden it very far though. I don't do a lot of Ks. But it's had a lot done to it. And more importantly, the Bobber vlog has evolved from it. When I first started working on the bike, I thought the black paint on the engine and everything was going to be a bit of a nightmare for working on it, trying not to scratch it and stuff like that. But as it happens, it hasn't been too bad at all. I have had to be a bit careful with it, and I've done quite a bit of work and fiddling about with it, so things have been on and off and stuff like that. So it's done well, and it still looks fairly clean. I actually traded my Thruxton R in for the Bobber because the Thruxton R hurt my body to ride it after a short period of riding. I thought the Bobber would be a cheaper alternative, which it actually wasn't, because the brakes on the standard Bobber are crap, so I had to buy a new Bobber Black, which wasn't cheaper. But I couldn't get the colour I wanted either because of all the COVID bollocks going on at the same time as well. So I managed to get an Ironstone X Demo, which actually did work out cheaper, which is pretty cool. I like this bike in front, that's pretty cool. So as it happens, it doesn't really matter what colour I got anyway, because it's now painted. I painted it red because the Ironstone, it didn't really pop in videos, especially the drag racing videos. So it does look a whole lot different now. I love it. But one of the very first things I did when I got it was I messed about with handlebar position, seat position and shifter and that sort of thing to try and get it to fit me a bit better, but it was way comfier than the Thruxton already. I'm still messing about with the seat position now. I still haven't found a good place for it. I'm actually riding to my day job now with the seat fully back. I drilled the extra hole out, but now I'm stretching a little bit to reach the bars, so I'm thinking about getting some bar risers to bring the bars back, because it's way more fun cornering like this. It is a little bit lower, so I can't quite see as well in the traffic. It's not very easy to see in the traffic, on the Bobber anyway, because it's low. But it's pretty good because it fits through the traffic really well, especially with the mirrors stuck down here like this. You don't tend to hit car mirrors with them. The bike didn't really need anything doing to it straight out of the box. It was awesome. The exhaust note was awesome, but it was a little bit too quiet. So first thing I did was the X-pipe, and it didn't really sound very nice. It was louder, but it was fluffy and raspy. It didn't sound very nice. So then I put I made an exhaust system for it out of some old Norton exhausts. The X-pipe might have been a bit raspy because I haven't actually merged the two together. I've kept them separate because I wanted a little bit more top end power. Right, what's this? Thank you.
You're welcome, bud. Have a good night.
Awesome. But yeah, so the exhaust sounded quite good. I didn't really like the long mud guards either, so the rear guard on this bike has been through a lot of changes, so I'm going to do a separate video just on what's happened to the rear guard over the last 2 years. I made a little shorty guard for it, which was awful in the rain, and so I've got a bit of a longer one now, which is quick release, and it gives it a nice race look. So I prefer the race look, modern look, rather than vintage brown leather sort of thing a lot of people do. Which is why I've got the aluminium wiring covers on it when I did the airbox delete, instead of one of them leather things. The idea behind the quick release front guard was I've got a fairly short one on it at the moment, and putting it on Zeus fasteners I could actually quickly release it and put a longer one on for like rainy days. Not that I ride in the rain anyway, I absolutely hate it. And you can probably see my fuel lights on now too. I thought the little tank was going to be a problem, but it's not a problem at all, because when you're actually on a big ride it uses all fuel. So that's pretty good, and when you're around town there's lots of servos anyway, and it gives you a chance to stop and talk to the people who say what a nice bike, because a lot of people think it's an old bike when really it's only 2 years old.
What sort of bike's that?
It's a Triumph Bobber 1200.
Triumph.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice bike.
it's good fun. Yeah, and I had to make some exhaust baffles for it as well, because the exhaust was sounding awesome and it was quite loud and everything.
It's quite loud.
But the local coppers up the mountains have got a bit of a vendetta against loud exhausts, so they didn't like that too much. So I made some baffles, which are pretty cool. That was fun. And I might even make that adjustable. That's for another day. Oh, the tyres. I've just put a new rear tyre on it, because the original tyre, I've only done 20,000 Ks. Well, I have done 20,000 Ks. I don't wear tyres out very hard. I don't weigh a lot and I don't really abuse them. And it really grips well as well. So I went for the Avon Cobra again. But this time I went for a 180 70/16 instead of a 150. 6.5, 16 I think. And it's a little bit taller geared, but it certainly looks a lot better. There's a whole nother video about that. And of course I did the D&K Tuneworks early on as well, and actually did some comparisons with that on the drag strip compared with standard, and it actually went a bit better. It actually revs to 7,200 now instead of 6.5, so that was a really worthwhile modification. I was pleased about that. But after 2 years, I get bored of things very quickly, but after 2 years I still love this bike just as much as when I first got it, probably even more actually. It's the most fun bike I've ever had. It's not the most powerful, but it's the most fun. And there is some big plans for more power in the very near future, especially now it's out of warranty. The first proper ride I had on it, I really noticed the rear suspension. The standard rear suspension's awful. It's way too hard. And my arse was actually leaving the seat. So I really wanted to sort this out and sort of looked into what other shock absorbers would fit, because the Bobber Vlog's not about chucking money at stuff, and uprated shocks for the rear of these are pretty dear, I reckon, but I couldn't really find anything suitable, and everything else was also a bit expensive as well. So I went for the Fox shock, and there's a video about that, and I'm glad I did. I went for the Fox Shot. Well, I didn't try and adapt something off of another bike because I thought if I went for the option of the Fox Shot, then I could do a review on it so that you guys could actually also see what it was like and it would help you guys. So that's what happened there. I'm actually making these bits of the video riding on my way to my day job because I may as well, I've got nothing better to do, and a lot of the time I'm going slow, so the audio is a lot better because I still haven't managed to sort out any decent audio for when I'm riding. And time is a precious commodity. It's one of the most precious commodities we have, so if you can use your time wisely, you're onto a winner. I did actually mess about with flipping the links like people have suggested to make suspension a bit better, but it didn't really make a lot of difference. It might have made a bit of difference with ground clearance and stuff like that, but to be honest I thought it made it a bit harsher. The drag racing was a good bit of fun. And messing about with the 42.2 sprocket and stuff like that. I determined that the standard gearing is the best gearing for drag racing. It's actually, I need to actually try it again now because I've got a new rear tyre on it and it's a bit taller geared. So we'll see what difference that makes. But I haven't been drag racing for a while because I haven't really done any mods on the bobber which should make much difference. So just doing it for the sake of it, it's not, I do enjoy it, but I always need to be progressing and getting better, so it gets a bit boring when you're doing the same thing over and over again. As far as reliability goes, I've had no issues with it whatsoever. I haven't even had to charge a battery, but I do live in a country where you ride all year round, so it doesn't get parked up over the winter and stuff like that. I said I haven't had any reliability issues with it, but actually that's not true. I have. The little rubber thing on the gear shifter rubbed through. This little guy here, look. And one of the brake pads is wearing a little bit more unevenly than the others, I found out from when I had it serviced. The oil cap was an issue. If anyone's had a new Triumph, they understand the first time you want to put oil in it what a nightmare that can be. So in conclusion, this is the best bike I've ever had. It's the most fun bike I've ever had. It's not the most powerful, but it's absolutely awesome. And I'm really glad I traded the Thruxton R in for it, which I thought I was going to regret. But I can ride this for hours without having any pain. And I think I can actually ride this faster through bends than I can a sport bike anyway. If you're thinking about buying a bobber, then I highly recommend it. So if you want to know what else I've done to it, feel free to comment. Or if you've got a bobber, comment on what you like about your bobber. Or if you want to buy a bobber, if you want to know anything about a bobber, or just comment about anything and I'll get back to you. So in general, the bobber is an awesome fun bike, and I think what most people like about the bobber is you can make it individual to who you are, and for me that's a big part of having a bike, is making it my bike. So plans for the future, the wheels are in motion now for a lot more power out of it, so there'll be a lot of content to do with that and developing the bobber, and it will be back on the drag strip again to see how I get on. So, have a great day.